So what we have here is a 5.7 liter Hemi V8. It has 50,000 miles on it, and it came out of a 2015 Jeep Cherokee. That's what we want. And like it was meant to be, we now have our completed proportioning valve and master cylinder assembly. So today is an exciting moment for the Challenger. There are a lot of packages here, and a big thanks to Classic Industries for sending all this stuff to get the Challenger back on the road. So let's just walk through everything that we have here. So just to let you know, these will not all go on the car in one video. This will be spread out among a few videos, and I'm not going to open all of these at one time. But as the time comes for them to be used, I will open them and let you guys take a better look at them. But let's just go down the list of the things that they gave us. So we've got sound deadener up here. We've got 2 brand new bumpers and bumper guards as well. We've got black carpet here. We've got 2 rear door panels in black. We've got our door weather stripping, our package tray right here that goes where the speakers are in the rear. And then here's a lot of stuff for like the dash. We've got lower dash trim. We've got heater controls, rubber seals for the doors. We've got gas filling net. We've got the tank straps. We've got visors, stuff like that, armrests, a lot of miscellaneous stuff that the thing needs on the inside. We've got our front door panels right here in black, and then here is the box that we actually will be unboxing in this video. And here is our front and rear floor pans for the driver's side, because if you remember, in one of our previous videos we talked about how we cleaned out the floor pans and found all this nice rust in the floor. And now this side is the only one that's really been affected. The other side actually turned out pretty well, but this side needs to be replaced. So what we're going to do in this video is cut all this out and put in some new metal. I think they're A&D. It's on a metal direct red.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
I didn't know.
I've got trunk extensions for both sides. And then there's wood in the pans. So real quick, I just wanted to demonstrate some of the cool things that Classic provided and some stuff that you can also get for your vehicle. So here we've got gas tank straps, and there's our brand new filler neck from OER. We've got the door weather stripping for OER, 2 sides of that, and that's the rubber grommet here for the gas tank. And again, I don't want to take all this stuff out of the package because that way I can preserve it. We got a bunch of like small boxes. I don't even know what this is. Oh, there's the dash emblem. Let's open that up. I do want to look at that. This does look cool. Check that out. Come a little closer for you guys. Look at that. That is awesome. I love that. And we've got some other boxes. What is this here? The lower dash trim. Oh, like I said, I'll leave that in the box. I'm going to show you the stuff that you can kind of easily see here. This big box right here. This box here is our headliner, and it's perforated. I mean, it's supposed to be exactly like the factory did it. So I'll leave that back in there, because once we open that can of worms, that's going to be something wild. I'll tell you that right now. That headliner is going to be interesting to figure out. And what is this? This is like the, oh cool, the pad that goes above the gas tank and sits between it and the floor pan. So when we install our floor pan in the trunk, we'll be able to install that. This is an insulator pad for the package tray. We have, oh look at that, new armrests. That's sweet. Look at that. Those are going to look awesome with our new door panels. And I am ready to unbox those door panels when the time comes. But again, I just wanted to show you some of the cool stuff that you can get from Classic Industries. And a lot of this stuff is, as you saw on the tag, you know, it is authorized by Mopar. You know, you can see it's approved stuff. All this stuff here, you know, you saw in the armrests, authentic restoration product from Mopar. Bring it closer so you can see that. Check that out. I mean, it's a real deal stuff. Chrysler signed off on it and said it's good, so I certainly trust it. And it makes me even more excited to do something with it, you know. What is this here? This is our, oh, the heater control panel. That's going to be beautiful whenever we install that. I cannot wait. Oh, man. Like, literally, this is like Christmas come early, honestly. Is this another dash panel? Yeah, the lower dash panel. We got 2 of those. But, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome when the time comes. When we actually get to unbox all this stuff and install it for the first time, it's going to look amazing. So here you can see a good portion of the floor pan has been cut out. I still like a little bit of trimming on this side over here, but for the most part it's pretty much cut to where I want it to be. And you'll notice I've got some blue tape along the trans tunnel hump. So unfortunately it's got to go. I'm going to have to pull it out and we can hopefully re-weld it back in. I'll have to make some patchwork over here on this little section right in here because it did rust out a little bit, but it's nothing we can't fix. So the reason I'm doing that is the original trans tunnel on these 4-speed or 3-speed cars, whatever, the manual shift cars, in the floor actually had the original floor pan cut out, and then they tack welded this thing in here. It's not spot welded in like the factory seams on a lot of these floor pans and everything. It's actually tack welded in. I've been grinding tack welds all along this edge right here. So what I'm going to do is, since the pan will tuck up under the trans tunnel, Dad made a good point that if I just cut this out along this blue tape and then make my pan fit the way I want it to, you know, section it off and then trim it as I need to, then I can just lay the old piece back in there after I fix some spots of rust, weld it back in, and nobody will ever notice. So I'm kind of nervous doing that, but that's the way I think the easiest method to do this and actually kind of get up in there and do it right and actually find some good spot welds up on this cross member. So without further ado, let's cut this trans tunnel.
So I wanted to take a quick break from cutting out and trimming our AMD floor pan and take a second to thank who sent the floor pan. That's Classic Industries. We mentioned them earlier in the video, but I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for supporting the build and giving us the opportunity to be able to move forward and make some huge progress that it would have been a lot more difficult to do on our own. And I just wanted to take a second and show you guys this catalog that they sent me, because these little things mean a lot to me. Because as a kid, I used to flip through these things all the time. I would stay up late at night looking for parts on my Dart Sport, and I mean, they just have thousands and thousands of parts that you would ever need. I mean, it's so much stuff. There's literally badges. I mean, it's crazy how much stuff that they make and produce. They give the restoration option so much more accessibility. It just makes everything so much easier to get things done. You can tell I've been carrying this little catalog around with me for a long time, because you know it's been everywhere with me. I've ripped it up on accident, but you know I've used it so much. I've looked through it, and I just really enjoy sitting down and looking through these catalogs. And there's so much stuff in here. I mean, literally just it's unfathomable how much stuff you can get from these guys. And I just want to thank again for Classic Industries supplying a bunch of these parts. You know, they sent us floor pans, carpet, and a lot of interior pieces, the headliner, door panels. I mean, there's just so much stuff that it's too much to list right now that I have to go through every single box, and we will throughout the videos, but I have 10 ginormous boxes that we're going to go through, and I'm really excited about it. So again, if you ever have a vehicle that needs some restoration parts, or you're working on something yourself and you need that one part that it's really hard to find, give Classic Industries a call. Give them a chance. They might have what you need, because a lot of this stuff is hard to find original, and thankfully Classic Industries is adding more parts and more parts every single year that they're reproducing. So if you can't find it, let Classic know. So what I want to do now is actually take the piece that I cut out of the floor pan for the trans hump and kind of fit it to the contour of the floor pan. You can kind of see how it fits pretty snug up against right in this area, and then along this bump right here you can see how it forms to the contour pretty close. So what I'm going to do is take this paint marker here and actually trace out where the hump sits. That way I can get in behind it and kind of make a more defined cut line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just enough to get the idea. Alright, so now we have an outline that we can kind of work with. Now, I don't want to cut right on this line because I need some kind of overlap to weld to. And it kind of gives me a little safety barrier whenever I go to set all this stuff in. You know, I don't want to cut too much off. So I'll probably run my cut around in this area, you know, just maybe about an inch or so inboard. That way, one, we have a lip to weld to on our trans tunnel, as well as giving just some kind of buffer, because we don't, like I said, we don't want to get too cut happy here. So again, I'll finish off that line on the back and then make us a defined tape line here. And the floor pan is almost sitting in there. So you can see we've really matched the shape here, and it's just sitting on top of it for right now. I still need to trim out a pretty good bit on the back side. I don't want to weld on this. I'd actually like to weld in front of it. But you can see that I did end up having to trim just a little bit more around that linkage right there in that cross member. But it looks like everything else is going to fit pretty well. Still have to do some more on the front, and that's about it. Then we can actually start welding this thing back together. But you can see just how good the AMD panel fits. You know, it actually does a really good job of contouring to the original lines. So I'm impressed. You know, it really helps whenever you have a pan that matches what it's supposed to have. So again, a little bit more trimming, a little more cutting here and there. Then we can start really getting the finalized piece in there ready to weld. And a little bit of trimming later. We've got the floor pan sitting flush up front. You can see it's lined up pretty nicely. I do need to make a patch for that spot, but other than that, everything is pretty much ready on the top side. Along the side here, we need to trim just about a ½ inch off, because it's starting to run into this right here, and then we'll trim up on the other side. And then right here, I do need to trim out because there's a lip up under here. So I'm going to have to make some kind of cut. I don't know exactly what I want to do just yet, but I kind of want to butt these up together and, you know, cut it all loose. But for right now, everything looks awesome. You know, I'm excited for it. It looks really good, and made a lot of progress. You know, there's still a lot more work to go, but it's definitely looking way better. You know, it's kind of a daunting task to have to go through and trim out all this floor pan and cut all this metal out. But once you start going the other direction and putting the new pan in, it starts to look a lot better. So now that we have our panel trimmed the way that we like it and everything's fitting pretty close into our floor, what I've done is actually got under the car after I clamped it down and outlined our frame rails going on the inside. And then what I've done after that is just mark out where I want to put new spot welds. And this is how the factory actually would use a spot weld machine to do it, but I'm just going to drill holes and then fill in the weld as I go. And it seems to work pretty well. So I'm just going to drill out all of these and then we'll drop it back in and see how it looks. So the floor pan is almost completely welded in. Still have a lot more to go. I've pretty much patched all the spots. I spot welded all along the sides, along the top. Still have to do the spot welds up on the pinch weld right on the lip towards the front side. And then we have to weld our tunnel in after we patch it. And then we got to clear all this out and do the rear pan. But I just wanted to get this video out and show you guys what's going on with Classic and update you guys and make sure you know the Challenger's still on. We're still making good progress for it. So the rear pan will be done. We'll do that in the next video. And the reason that I saved the rear pan for the next one is because I knew that front pan was going to be super tedious. I've spent hours getting that thing in there because it's a lot of trimming. Had to cut the tunnel out and all the spot welds that we have to do in the frame. You know, it's really tedious work that you have to do. This one, on the other hand, really won't be that bad. There's no spot welds along the middle that we have to worry about. All it is taking this pan out, trimming it where we want it, and then laying it in there, doing a good butt weld, spot it in, and it should be okay. I knew it would be a lot harder to do the front pan, so I knew whenever I get really mad at it and I'm ready to quit, when I get ready to weld this thing in, it won't be so bad. So this should be pretty simple and straightforward, and we got some good practice on doing the front pan first. I like to tackle the big jobs first, like when it comes to this front pan here, because it was pretty tedious to get all that stuff out of the way and really make all that work. So I knew that whenever I had really gotten used to everything, got my welder like I like it, by the time I get to doing the rear pan, it really won't go that bad. It should be pretty quick and drop right in place. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Cut a lot of rust out and got all those floor pans in, got everything looking really nice and clean. And I'm excited to move on to the next venture. That's the trunk pan. That's going to be a lot of work, but we're going to get it going. And we're going to move around the car, do a couple other things while we're waiting on that. I've still got to order the trunk pan and the frame rail, but we might do some stuff with the interior while we got the floor pan in. Make it look a little bit nicer on the inside. But I need to pull the dash out, got to rewire everything, pull the windshield, do all that good stuff, and then we got to start prepping the engine bay to accept our new Hemi. which we also had to bring the Hemi inside and get it set up and tear it apart and check everything over, make sure it's all right. So we've got a lot to do. We still have to work on the rear suspension. We've got to get a lot of stuff done. So I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are too. Still have a lot of work ahead of us, but I think it's going to be a really good time, and I'm excited for it, and I hope you guys really enjoy these video series. I know there's a long break between this video and the last because I was waiting on parts and the holiday season kicked in. So it's just kind of a hard time to get a lot of stuff done. But here we are. We're catching back up. We've got a lot of parts to work with thanks to Classic Industries. So again, if you haven't already, go check them out if you need some restoration parts, because if it wasn't for them, this video wouldn't be possible. And if it wasn't for you, this video wouldn't be possible as well. So thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have a question for me, feel free to leave a comment. You can also send me an email. It's at the very end of the video. Order your t-shirts and your stickers. The abandoned t-shirts are going out. They are made. They're being ready to ship. At this moment, we're working on that. So thank you for being patient. We're going to try and get those out by the holiday season. So thanks again for all your orders and all your support. And again, I just appreciate everything you guys have done for me. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.